something isn't adding up anymore. And for the first time, Kayce may finally be starting to realize it. The brand new Marshals Season 2 trailer doesn't just tease another action-packed chapter. It quietly reveals that Dolly may have been hiding the biggest secret of the entire series. Almost every scene in the trailer points toward the same shocking conclusion. The attacks, the strange looks, the suspicious timing, none of it feels like a coincidence anymore. If these clues are connected, then everything Kayce believed in during Season 1 could completely fall apart. And if that's true, then the biggest betrayal isn't coming in Season 2, it has already begun. Before we break down every hidden clue from the trailer, we need to go back to the ending of Season 1, because almost every mystery shown in the teaser begins there. The Season 1 finale ended with absolute chaos. What started as an attempt to bring peace quickly turned into a fight for survival. Thomas believed he could stop the conflict by meeting with the senator and pushing to shut down the Montana mines. For a brief moment, it looked like progress had finally been made, but that hope disappeared almost immediately. A carefully planned betrayal changed everything, forcing Thomas into East Camp for protection. Instead of finding safety, he found another deadly ambush waiting for him. Fortunately, Thomas survived because the Marshals reacted before it was too late. Mo, Tate, and the others managed to fight off the attackers, proving once again that protecting Thomas had become their highest priority. But even though they won that battle, the war itself was clearly just beginning. The people behind these attacks weren't giving up. In fact, they seemed to be getting more confident with every move they made. At the same time, another dangerous situation was unfolding elsewhere. Following Andrea's information, Belle and Calvin tracked down the location where the attackers had been hiding. It seemed like the perfect opportunity to uncover the truth. Instead, they walked directly into another trap. Armed men were already waiting for them, showing that someone had predicted their every move before they even arrived. That moment changed everything we thought we knew. Instead of random criminals causing trouble across Montana, it became clear that someone much more powerful had been controlling events from the shadows. Every attack suddenly felt connected. Every betrayal suddenly made sense. The enemy had been planning several moves ahead the entire time. Meanwhile, Kayce found himself dealing with a completely different problem without even realizing it. While the people around him were fighting visible enemies, Kayce was slowly being pulled into an invisible trap. Dolly remained by his side, appearing loyal and supportive whenever danger appeared. But looking back now, her actions raise more questions than answers. Somehow, she always seemed to know exactly what was happening. Somehow, she was always present whenever major events unfolded. And somehow, despite the danger surrounding everyone else, she always managed to avoid suffering the same consequences. At first, those details were easy to ignore. After all, when people are focused on surviving, they rarely stop to question someone they trust. But Season 2's trailer changes that completely. The teaser shows several moments that seem ordinary at first glance. However, once you slow them down and look carefully, they begin telling a completely different story. Tiny expressions, brief pauses, and subtle reactions suggest that Kayce himself is beginning to notice something that viewers have been questioning for a long time. For the first time, doubt appears on his face. Not fear, not confusion. Doubt. That single emotion could completely change the direction of Season 2. Because if Kayce starts questioning Dolly, then every conversation they've had, every decision they've made together, and every attack they've survived suddenly becomes suspicious. Instead of asking who the enemy is, Kayce may finally begin asking whether the enemy has been standing beside him all along. And if that's the case, what exactly is Dolly still hiding?
The biggest clue in the Season 2 trailer isn't the gunfire, the explosions, or even the intense action scenes. It's the way Dolly behaves while everything is happening around her. The attack itself is dramatic, but if you pay close attention, the real story isn't about the men with guns. It's about the person standing right beside Kayce. The trailer shows Kayce and Dolly caught in another dangerous ambush at East Camp. At first, it looks like just another surprise attack. We've seen similar situations before, and Kayce has always found a way to fight his way through them. But this time, something feels different from the very beginning. Kayce doesn't simply react to the attackers. He reacts to Dolly. For a brief moment, the trailer shows him looking at her with an expression we've never really seen before. It isn't the look of someone trying to protect another person. Instead, it looks like he's trying to figure something out. It's almost as if a question suddenly appears in his mind. Why does this feel familiar? That single glance may end up being one of the most important moments in the entire season. Throughout season 1, Kayce trusted Dolly more than almost anyone else. Even when situations became complicated, he continued believing that she was on his side. Every decision he made was influenced by that trust. But trust is difficult to rebuild once doubt begins to grow, and the trailer suggests that doubt has finally entered the picture. The attack itself also raises several strange questions. If Tom's people wanted Kayce dead, why launch another assault that gives him a chance to fight back? We've already seen that Tom doesn't make careless decisions. Nearly every move he's made has served a larger purpose. He doesn't attack without thinking several steps ahead. That makes this ambush feel less like an assassination and more like a performance. Imagine if the real objective wasn't killing Kayce at all. Imagine if the goal was convincing him that Dolly was another victim. If armed men attacked both of them, Kayce naturally has another reason to trust her. After surviving another life-threatening situation together, their bond would become even stronger. From Tom's perspective, that's the perfect distraction. While Kayce focuses on protecting Dolly, he stops questioning whether she's secretly helping the enemy. It's exactly the kind of manipulation we've already seen throughout the series. Tom has never relied only on violence. He controls people by controlling what they believe. Instead of forcing someone to trust him, he creates situations where they stop trusting everyone else. That's a much more dangerous strategy because people rarely realize they're being manipulated until it's too late. Now, think back to everything Dolly has done over the last season. Has she ever directly pushed Kayce toward danger? Not exactly. Instead, she's often been there just before major events unfold, or immediately after something goes wrong. That doesn't prove she's guilty, but it does create an interesting pattern, and patterns matter, especially in shows like Marshals, where writers love planting clues long before revealing the truth. Another detail that caught my attention is how calm Dolly appears in parts of the trailer. Most people would be terrified in the middle of an armed attack. Fear is difficult to hide when bullets are flying and lives are at risk. Yet Dolly seems unusually composed. She's certainly reacting, but not with the level of panic we'd normally expect. Could that simply be confidence? Of course, but it could also mean she already knows more than she's letting on. We've seen television writers use this trick many times before. A character appears completely innocent until viewers look back after the big reveal. Suddenly, every small reaction starts making sense. Conversations that once seemed harmless become suspicious. Moments that felt unimportant suddenly become major clues. Season 2 may be preparing exactly that kind of reveal. Then there's Kayce himself. The trailer reminds us once again why he's one of the most dangerous people in Montana. When the attackers move in, he responds with incredible speed and precision. He's no longer just surviving these encounters, he's controlling them. Every move shows experience, confidence, and instinct. But here's the interesting part. As Kayce becomes stronger physically, he may finally become stronger emotionally as well. For most of season 1, his biggest weakness wasn't his fighting ability, it was his willingness to trust people without questioning their motives. If season 2 changes that, then Tom's greatest advantage disappears. Because once Kayce starts asking difficult questions, every lie becomes harder to maintain, every secret becomes harder to protect, and every betrayal moves one step closer to being exposed. But if Kayce really is beginning to suspect Dolly, how long will it take before Dolly realizes that her secret is no longer safe? If Kayce really is beginning to question Dolly, then the next question becomes even more important. Who is going to help him uncover the full truth? Because suspicion alone isn't enough. Kayce will need proof. And right now, there is only one person who seems capable of putting all the pieces together. That person is Andrea. One of the biggest surprises in Season 2 trailer is Andrea's continued presence with the Marshals. At the end of Season 1, it looked like her future was already decided. She was preparing to leave for Washington, D.C., and everyone expected her story to move in a completely different direction. It felt like she had already said goodbyes. But somehow, she's still here. That immediately raises an important question. What made her change her mind? The simplest explanation is that the attack on Belle and Calvin forced her to stay. If both of them were seriously injured during the ambush, the Marshals would suddenly lose two of their most experienced members. Andrea might have decided that leaving during such a difficult time simply wasn't the right thing to do. That would certainly fit her character. Throughout the series, Andrea has consistently put other people ahead of herself. Whenever the team needed help, she stepped forward without hesitation. Walking away while her friends were fighting for their lives wouldn't feel like something she'd easily do. But I don't think that's the whole story. The trailer quietly hints at another possibility. Notice how often Andrea appears connected to Kayce's storyline instead of anyone else's. The trailer doesn't spend much time showing her interacting with the rest of the team. Instead, her presence seems to revolve around the growing mystery surrounding Kayce. That feels intentional. It's almost as if the writers are slowly moving Andrea closer to the center of the story. And if that's true, then her role in Season 2 could become much bigger than anyone expected. Let's go back to the final moments of Season 1. When Andrea was preparing to leave, saying goodbye wasn't easy. Out of everyone on the team, Kayce seemed to be the hardest person for her to walk away from.